It's a rivalry which began 74 years ago, and tonight it resumes at the Dunkin' Donuts Center. The 10-3 UConn Huskies visit the 10-7 Providence Friars. And a very pleasant good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Picozzi along with Mark Plansky. Thanks so much for joining us for Big East basketball. For the 5th time in its history, UConn off to a 4-0 start in the league. And Mark, when it comes to the Huskies players, there's no doubt Caron Butler's their best, but Talik Brown might be their most important.
Well, a couple of powerful sophomores there, Bobby, but you touched on it. The maturity of Talik Brown this year has got Jimmy Calhoun's Huskies at the top of the standings. What does he bring? He brings a confidence to get into the lane this year where he can dish it to Johnny Selby, or, as he has been doing very well and comparably better than last year, finishing and scoring. I mean, you take a look at his numbers, Bobby. This year, he is averaging 12 points a game in conference play. That's more than twice what he did last year. And as you mentioned, that just frees up more opportunities for Caron Butler.
But the big challenge tonight for Talik will be Providence's John Linehan, the best on-the-ball defender in the conference.
Well, the Linehan factor is what every team who plays Providence has to be aware of. This guy is chasing down the NCAA all-time steal record. And not only is he terrible on the guy who has the ball, but you have to be aware of him when you don't have the ball, because he'll leave the man and go get it when they make the pass.
Saturday against St. John's, Linehan got the job done at the other end of the floor as well. 20 points, equaled his season high with 9 assists. Back with the starting lineups at opening tip in a moment. Ryan Gomes has scored in double figures 7 times in his first 10 college games. He's up front with Anron and Laxa. The guards are Mills and Linehan. Tim Welsh has guided Providence to 2 postseason appearances in his first 3 years at the helm. Jumping center will be Gomes at 6'7", Johnny Selby at 6'7". Mike Kitts will throw the ball up. He's working tonight along with Tom Lopes and John Cowell, and the tap is controlled by Providence. And quickly it's Abdul Mills. UConn starts out Mark man-to-man.
Well, UConn's going to go man-to-man. They're deeper than Providence, and as we touched on in the open, Bobby, they're playing great defense this year, which is sparking the offense.
Ryan Gomes with the open look. Long rebound to Anron. Comes to Linehan, who tries to beat Robertson off the dribble. Now Mills gets the high screen from Laxa. Kick out Anron for 3. Air ball, rebound on a hop to Okafor.
Well, it's the right theory. Penetrate and get it to Axa, but a little early in the offense.
Selby right side. He fouled out after 25 minutes Sunday at Villanova. And here's the matchup we told you about. Brown and Linehan, point to point, number 12 on number 12. It'll be that way every moment that Brown's on the floor, we suspect. Selby with the miss. Long rebound Gomes, and here comes Mills. Takes it into the teeth of the zone, and Robertson and Brown were both there. One of them will be called for the bump. It's Robertson, the first foul of the night. UConn has had its way in recent years in this rivalry with Providence. Has won 8 of the last 11, 6 of the last 7. UConn has won 12 of 23 trips into this building, which opened in 1972.
Well, you saw Mills take the ball very well in the transition. Abdul Mills is the one player that Timmy Welsh needs to play well tonight. Take some pressure off of John Linehan. And against the 2-3 zone, because of the baseline out of bounds, this is where Mills can penetrate and dish as well to the perimeter jump shot.
Providence will try to stretch out the defense and beat you from 3-point range like here. Anron is shooting 38% from there. Can't get this one to fall, and here's Brown. And as always, UConn looks to run. Tough catch by Robertson, but he can't hang on, and here comes Mills the other way to Linehan. Rebound Okafor. Here's UConn 3-on-2 with Butler at 6'7", running the break, and Selby with the finish.
Up and down, and that's going to ultimately favor UConn. They're a deeper team, but a great job by Butler. He's going to take it all the way, and Selby right there.
Tim Welsh told me he considers UConn one of the best north to south teams he's ever seen, and so far, Mark, Providence just settling for the threes.
And you have to be very wary of shooting only threes. It leads to quick opportunities for Connecticut.
Like there, first 3 of the night for the Huskies, who jump on top 5-0.
Providence had a great transition, 2 good up and down opportunities, 1 foul with Mills, and Linehan missing the easy layup. But if you just settle for that jump shot, long rebounds and quick transition baskets for the Huskies will be available.
Anron shoots over Butler. Providence gets on the board 2.5 minutes in. That 3 at the other end by Butler, only his 8th of the season. That is not his strength. Robertson leads the team in threes with 23.
Now, if there is a weakness on the offensive side of Butler, it is shooting the perimeter jump shot.
And Robertson, with his team leading 24th, playing in his old stomping grounds. He comes from nearby East Providence.
Always good to hit the first basket when you're back in the home ground. You know, Robinson, probably the most matured and experienced player on this very young UConn team.
Great pick set by Gomes, freeing up Linehan.
John Linehan, we touched on his defensive prowess. He is a one-man fast defensive nightmare. As you can see, Talik backing him down. But when he looks for his offense and he can knock him down, Providence as a team moves it up the level.
Robertson gets the screen from Okafor. Brown brought the ball up, but now he is playing off the ball and occupying Linehan. Now he gets it back with 10 left on the shot clock. Feeds the post, Gomes with great anticipation.
You can leave Brown and go behind the screen as Linehan did there.
Laxa runs the floor. Okafor with his 49th block of the year. He's 6th in the country.
Crowd looking for a goaltending on the putback, but regardless, Okafor like a pogo stick.
Butler shoots over Anwin. Long rebound comes to Gomes, and here comes Mills. Mills for three. His team leading 37, and Jim Calhoun wants a timeout. He does not appear to be pleased, Mark, at Providence getting good looks at the hoop. So far, they've only knocked down one of them.
Jimmy Calhoun with a quick point of the finger to Caron Butler, saying, hey, you knocked down your first jump shot, but I do not want you settling for jumpers. But speaking of Jays, there was a great coach here at Providence a few years back by the name of Ricky Pitino, which is famous for creating the saying, you live by the J, you die by the J. And Abdul Mills comes down and knocks it down. Here's Linehan on Brown. You talk about what he's going to do. Once that ball goes away, Linehan's going to follow the screen. If Brown is out of the offensive part of the play, this here he's trying to post him up. Watch Linehan leave Brown, give him the perimeter jump shot, and try to sneak around and get Caron Butler when he has the ball from behind.
Just about every Providence opponent at some point will have someone other than the point guard bring the ball up to keep Linehan off the ball. And as we speak, following the timeout, Ben Gordon replaces Talik Brown. So Robertson will bring the ball up the floor. And Tim Welch said that's okay if they want to do that, because the way we look at it, if we won half the battle because they're not having their best ball handler run the offense.
Although on the flip side, Ben Gordon will only shoot the ball when he has it. So you cannot expect John Linehan to leave him alone as often as he would with Brown.
Shelby started to go, and Linehan will be called for the reach-in foul. And that will be the first foul of the night on the Friars, bringing us to our first official timeout of the evening. It's the 57th time these two New England rivals have hooked up. It's UConn by one. Mark, entering the game, Providence had attempted 145 more three-pointers than their opponent.
Well, here's Caron Butler. He's a guy, Bob, that's only attempting a little over one. And we mentioned Jimmy Calhoun does not want him to shoot the perimeter because that's not his strength. However, this guy's almost shooting attempting 7 threes a game. You can see nothing but nylon on that jump shot. And if Abdul Mills can draw that defense out, that opens up lanes for Linehan to get in and penetrate.
Here's a three for Gordon, left side. Weak side rebound. Butler with great position as he out-battled Laxa.
Well, that's something that you and I were talking about before the game. If Caron Butler can get in and use 235 pounds each and every time down and get 10 rebounds a game, that brings a whole dimension to his game that he has not displayed yet in his first 1.5 years at UConn.
Gomes on the perimeter, defended by Okafor. Mills comes around the pick and gets a wide open look. His second three of the night. Jim Calhoun points to Talik Brown and says, get in there. Somebody has to stop those open looks.
Well, the Providence scouting report says jump shooting team, and Abdul Mills has come out and knocked down 2 quick threes.
Mills deflects the ball into the backcourt, and now here's Gordon, the freshman, getting a first-hand look at what everyone's talking about in John Linehan.
It's just never fun playing against a guy like John Linehan. You know, I played against Muggsy Bogues back when I played, and for one trip up and down the court, that's all it took for me to realize whenever I got the ball and he was on me, you passed the ball, period, end of statement.
Talik Brown had 8 turnovers in the first meeting between these two last year. He said Linehan's like a little mouse who won't go away. The double team results in the turnover, and Selby tries to get it back and will be called for the foul. That will be his first and 2 on UConn.
Great job, low post defense. Another The tribute to John Linehan is it's very contagious, Bobby, to play defense. As you can see, good trap down there by Laxa, and a great job by the freshman Gomes with active hands. If the player's going to show you the ball in the post, whether it's high or low, get a hand on it.
Brown, conversely, did a great job defensively on Linehan in their return engagement last February in Hartford. Held Linehan along with other Huskies, helping scoreless. Laxa puts it on the floor in traffic, starts to go, and is called for traveling. Laxa really just getting back into nearly tip-top game shape, Mark, after missing 7 games with a stress fracture in his foot.
Yeah, and nobody's going to mistake Laxa for the best athlete on the team at any time throughout his career. Laxa's a shooter, but you need your legs to be an excellent shooter, so he's not quite, as you mentioned, to 100%, and that's why his percentage from the perimeter is lower than it was last year.
Providence switches to a 2-3 zone. Brown penetrates, but Okafor takes the shot while backing up. Mills tries to beat Gordon off the dribble. Andrew, this is his 3rd wide-open look, and he's yet to hit anything.
Speaking of injuries, Andrew is also laboring up and down the court. That was a wide-open look in transition.
Amron gets the rebound inside, looks for Linehan, and we see 5 blue shirts quickly back defensively. Scott Hazelton is checked in for UConn. Redshirt freshman from Reading, Massachusetts. On the right, it's Laxa. This is Hazelton defending him.
Hazelton brings great athleticism to the UConn lineup.
And Abdul Mills has buried 3 3-pointers in the first 6:45 of the game.
Well, he's the guy that Coach Timmy Walsh said, Mark, I need him to have a big game, and he has responded.
He leads the team in scoring with 14.9. There's the shooting story in the early going. Brown penetrates, kick out Butler, left side 3, long rebound Hazelton. And here goes Linehan after the ball and nearly got it. Brown on the left for the open look. Long rebound, Butler tips to himself on the floor, and he'll get to the free throw line.
Well, Providence throws the 2-3 zone at UConn, Bobby, threatening them to take the jump shot. It worked for the first part of that possession. Timmy Walsh's defense forced the jump shot. UConn could not knock it down. Here's Talik Brown, the second missed 3, but you have to get in there and rebound. It's the second time Butler's done an excellent job using his body to get the rebound.
So to the free throw line will go Caron Butler, who was the Big East Co-Player of the Week a week ago Monday on January 7th, averaging 21 points per game in his last 6 games. 6 points tonight. Okafor departs for UConn, replaced by 7-footer Justin Brown.
Well, Jimmy's got the revolving door working and the arms crossed, Bobby. You've done more UConn games than me, but that usually tells me he's not ecstatic about the way the game has unfolded so far.
Well, I guarantee he's not too excited about the fact that Providence has had 7 reasonably good looks from 3-point range. They've made 3 of them, accounting for 9 of the 13 points. Linehan with the runner over Brown, Justin Brown.
Both Linehan and Mills, you have to respect their perimeter 3-point shooting ability. An excellent job keeping your pivot foot on the ground, 1 dribble, and a nice little 8-foot floater by the little guy.
So Providence, for the 3rd straight UConn possession in a zone. They threw a zone at St. John's for 40 minutes in a 21-point blowout on Saturday.
In this zone, Butler has the ability to get into the middle. The weakness of the 2-3 at the foul line, and then create some offense from there.
Linehan, the mouse, nearly took it away. Shot clock winding down. Hazelton, open 3. Rebound batted around, and Gordon controls. Inside, Talik Brown to Justin Brown, and he'll be called for the charge. His first, and 3 on the Huskies. Timeout, 11:53 to go. The Providence Civic Center completely packed, and Abdul Mills giving them an awful lot to cheer about. Now let's take a moment to thank our corporate partner, Cooper Tire. Proud to be the official tire of the Big East Conference. Cooper Tires, drive on. Well, Mark, entering the ballgame, Providence next to last in the league in 3-point shooting percentage at 31%. But thanks to that young man, Abdul Mills, who has 3 threes tonight, the Friars are 3 of 7 from behind the arc.
Well, if you're a good shooter, you want to shoot your 3s, Bobby, in transition or off a solid screen. And Abdul Mills has got both and knocked them down.
Marcus Douthit is checked into the game for Providence. Linehan wanted Gomes down low and threw it just a bit too high. Now, keep your eyes on Douthit when he handles the ball down low. He has had all kinds of trouble handling the basketball this year. How about 50 turnovers and 25 assists for the 6'10 center?
Well, he needs to put on some more size. His hands are not strong, but he has a wingspan, and he needs to get as active as he can, because right now Providence has to keep UConn to one shot. Too many offensive rebounds, too many second chances for the Huskies.
Gordon, top of the circle. Nice look down low. Selby is stripped. 8 to shoot for UConn as the inbound baseline.
Well, you touched on it, Bobby. Great look from up top. Always active and always with his eyes. Selby trying to get to the lane, and Gordon that time finding the tunnel to throw it down.
Top of the circle, Butler. Time running down on the 30. Butler has it knocked away. Loose on the floor. Wild scrum. The horn sounds as the time goes off on the shot clock. Providence has the ball, so they don't stop play. Kaba comes in, and I'm not real sure that's the first thing that Tim Welsh wants Kaba doing when he touches the ball.
I think that's probably a safe statement. Why not? While trying to get involved.
Kaba now 10 of 32 from three-point range, but the three-point field goal is as much a part of Providence's offense as probably any team in the Big East.
Well, Welsh has his most athletic front court in there right now, and that's countering all the substitutions at Jimmy Calhoun. He's thrown everybody on his bench in the game early at the front court position, and I like the front court athletically for Providence right now.
Here's Douthit down low with the ball, defended by Selby. Turns the up and over move, misses badly. Rebound Okafor, and Douthit shaken up on the play, and he's trailing everybody. And Selby with the high percentage shot, and they're going to blow the whistle to 10 to Douthit, who came up in pain after missing that shot.
Well, Douthit made a great move one-on-one down on the post, and the shot was very hard. So if he got hit down below, no one's looking below the waist down on the post play. Bobby, they're all looking up high when you have a wingspan like Mr. Douthit.
Speaking from experience there?
No, they were always looking below the waist for me. There was no wingspan.
Providence by one. We've nearly played half the first half. Down the lane goes Kaba. Fakes Selby off his feet, but not Okafor. And we'll head the other way because Kaba will be called for the reach-in foul. That's his first and number 3 on Providence.
Fire fouls on number 13, Shiku Kaba. His first, team third.
Well, you touched on it, Kaba. Unsuccessful from the perimeter. Takes it down low. Great job by UConn. Okafor, he is always around that ball. Loves the attention of the block shot.
Leads the Big East and is 6th in the country. Has 49. Well, that was his 50th block of the season. He could challenge the UConn single season record of 111 set by Donyell Marshall. Okafor with the catch at the high post. Looks for a teammate. Rifles the pass down low to Butler.
Great hands. The pass was outstanding, but the catch on the fastball.
Like a Nolan Ryan delivery there. Linehan. Left side, it goes to Kaba. For the moment, the crowd has been taken out of this. Linehan, the pull-up jumper. It's a little bit too strong, and on the rebound, we're going to get a foul on Providence. If it's Laxa, it's his second, and it is.
Well, outside-in offense demands that you knock down your jump shots. Abdul Mills came and knocked them down, but on the other side, an outside-in defense.
Where's the jug? Where's our jugs gun? Not that one.
You mentioned Butler always against the zone or man has his eye on the ball and his hands ready. Great set of strong hands. Allows him to finish better than most of the competitors on the court.
Now, Linehan gets his first rest of the night. Providence stays in the zone, and Selby cannot handle Talik Brown's pass. Might have been a little low.
That's a tough bounce pass. Brown saying that's my fault. Trying to thread the needle and throwing it hard and low is not what you want to do with a 6'8" guy down low.
Jim Calhoun has been very, very pleased with Talik Brown's play of late. The pull-up by Mills, looking for his 4th 3 of the night, and Okafor instead pulls down the rebound. Here comes UConn. Butler with the catch. Cross-court pass. Selby has the shot blocked. It's mad scramble. Douthit controls. And here comes Providence.
Sanders and Douthit can get and cover a lot of territory down low. Great job blocking the shot and tracking it down.
Rob Sanders, a 6'6" freshman from New London, Connecticut, is checked in. One of 4 players from the state of Connecticut going up against the Huskies tonight. Laxa with the miss. Rebound Okafor. Here comes Talik Brown. Has Robertson left. Instead, takes it himself. and way up in the air for the rebound is Sanders.
That's why I like Sanders against this UConn front court. He can compete athletically with Selvey, with Hazelton, with Butler. And that rebound by itself raises the sixth man of the crowd to the feet.
On this possession, Kaba is handling the ball at the point with Linehan out. Kaba with the runner. Inside, the rebound is controlled on a hop to Talik Brown. UConn making the commitment to run off the Providence misses. Instead, Butler will be called for the charge. That will be his first. And number 4 on UConn. Timeout, 7:55 to go, first half at the Providence Civic Center. It's UConn by a point. Back in Providence, where UConn leads the Friars by 1. Now, I know, Mark, you are an outstanding student at Villanova. Here's the easiest quiz you ever had. Who are the 2 greatest guards in Providence college history?
Other than, no, okay, I'm going to go with Ernie DiGregorio and Jimmy Walker.
And there they are, Jimmy on the left and Ernie on the right. They have collaborated on a book. We hope to be talking with Jimmy Walker at halftime. This is what Jimmy Walker did during his career. Keep in mind, no freshman eligible. 3 years, 2,045 points. Away from the play, a foul will be called on Providence, and Maris Laxa will have to sit down after picking up his 3rd personal foul. That's number 5 on Providence. 2,045 points in 3 years.
You know, Bobby, I was born in 1966, but every time anybody talks about Providence College, Dave Gavitt, who I know very well, Jimmy Walker is the benchmark.
Jimmy Walker considered by longtime observers the greatest player in Providence history. And Ernie DiGregorio perhaps a very close second. Down low, Mike Hayes is checked in. He's immediately stripped. Butler picks up the loose chain.
Everyone, of course, in this arena, and a Providence fan, remember the 75-foot behind-the-back bounce pass that Ernie T delivered in NCAA championship game competition. I tried that once in practice. Rolly didn't like it. That was enough of that. But
that's because you hit Rolly in the left ear with the pass.
I hit his wife. She was sitting down.
Sanders up top, defended by Hayes, a junior college transfer in his first year with the UConn program. Gomes beats Okafor off the dribble, but misses the shot. Long rebound to Mills. Didn't hit the rim, so the clock didn't recycle. Mills fires. Rebound inside Sanders. He finds Gomes over Okafor.
And maybe a little contact. How about the left for the young freshman? Gomes just needs time and experience, and Timmy Walsh has a very solid front court player.
60% shooter so far in his brief college career is Ryan Gomes. Providence in the 2-3 zone again. Gordon penetrates, kick out Robertson for 3. His second of the night and 25th of the year. We are at the Dunkin' Donuts Center in downtown Providence, Rhode Island. Glad you could join us for Big East basketball. I'm Bob Picozzi along with Mark Plansky. UConn 4-0 in the conference. Providence 1-2, and it's the Huskies by 4. 6 minutes left, first half. Caron Butler rebounds the miss. 3-on-2 UConn break. Gives to Gordon. Wanted to feed down low, and nobody was home.
Well, again, a good job by Gomes getting his hand in transition on the D, but that's what Butler brings to Jimmy Calhoun's team. You can get the rebound and go. He's not the best ball handler, but look at the head is up. He lets the first guy come through, leaves a nice little opportunity for Ben Gorman, but credit the freshman Gomes keeping his hand in the play.
Screen set by Amron, frees up to Linehan, 3. And on the rebound, a foul will be called on Gomes. That will be number 1 on him and number 6 on the Friars.
Well, Ryan Gomes down there every possession battling with 1 and 2 guys for UConn. You can see Timmy Walsh saying, how about a little fair treatment down my end, where UConn is going to continue to crash the glass offensively until the referees tell them not to.
Providence now 3 of 12 from three-point range. Down low, nice look Okafor to Hazelton, but he was stepping on the end line. So we'll go the other way. Providence in the league coming off the big win over St. John's on Saturday. Before that had lost at Villanova and lost a tough one here to Syracuse. They led for most of that game. The turnover story in Providence's favor in the early going. There's a right side 3 by Mills, his 4th of the evening.
Got a little shake of the head, a little confidence, swagger coming back. Good to see, because Mills has not exactly been knocking them all down this season.
He's 4 of 6 tonight. That was his 40th three-pointer of the year. The rest of his teammates, however, are 0 for 7 from three-point range tonight.
Well, that turnover stat was a little misleading, because by shooting all these perimeter jump shots, you know, every other shot is a 3. You're not going to have a lot of turnovers.
It's tough to turn it over that way. Gordon, left side, Hazelton, beats his man off the dribble. Now picks up the dribble. Gordon up top with 2 on the shot clock. Rebound Okafor. Loose on the floor. Robertson gets it, and the shot clock will recycle.
Providence is doing such a good job on the perimeter, contesting the jump shots, but where they need to focus is on the interior. Get a body on everybody in the blue uniform.
Gordon. That time Gordon, undecided about what he wanted to do, was hoping to find Butler on the right, and when it wasn't there, he was called for the carry. Robertson leaves. He's replaced by Talik Brown. Jim Calhoun told me that when Talik plays the way we want him to play, we can be pretty good. When he focuses on the things he can't do, that's when he gets himself into trouble.
And the way Jimmy wants him to play is unselfish, like he did against Villanova. 1 turnover in 37 minutes. Lots of dishes, not a lot of jump shots forced by Talik on Sunday.
Half of Providence's 28 field goal attempts tonight are from three-point range. Right side jumper, Mills. Sanders tried the tip in, no good. Mills gets it back, feeds Sanders inside, and he draws the foul. Hazelton was there, and it will be called, or is it on Talik Brown? Johnny Selby is going to re-enter for the Huskies. And the crowd responding as UConn is whistled for its 5th foul, and to the free throw line will go Sanders.
You know, 6'6" from St. Thomas More High obviously has produced a number of great athletes in this conference, the Big East. I really like Rob Sanders is doing early on here, demonstrating how athletic and aggressive he can be on that glass.
Foul was on Talik Brown. That was his first. Well, you mentioned St. Thomas More Prep. I would say the most famous player ever to come out of that program was the gentleman that's sitting 3 rows behind us, Mr. DiGregorio. Led Providence along with his fellow All-American Marvin Barnes to their first Final Four appearance in 1973. Ernie D had just a few assists during his 3 years here at Mark. Like 662. Abdul Mills has accounted for 12 of Providence's 22 points. It's the Friars by 1. Timeout. Off to a 4-0 start for the 5th time in its history, but not off to a 53% shooting start this evening.
Well, very similar to St. John's. Providence playing that 2-3 zone, and that will give you quick looks. And UConn needs to be patient. Give up that first open 3, make 1 or 2 more passes, and you'll be able to get in the middle of that zone and dominate interior.
Robertson penetrates but loses the ball out of bounds. Turnover number 10 for the Huskies. Entering the ball game, UConn only 11th in the Big East in turnover ratio. That is an uncommon characteristic over the years for the Huskies. And tonight, Providence has turned it over just 3 times. But as we mentioned, that largely a byproduct of their offense settling for the 3s. They've taken 14 of them. There's Douthit juggling the ball. Puts it on the floor, and there's his 51st turnover. 3-on-2 Robertson blows by Sanders, and Butler is there for the finish.
Well, that's what happens when the big guy has the ball 20 feet from the hole. It's going to give up a quick opportunity for Huskies, beating 1 Friar down the court.
Butler with 13 points, so he has reached double figures for the 29th straight game. Mills long 3. Here's Butler. Saves it in front of us. Behind the back to Robinson. How did he know he was there?
Speaking of Ernie D.
And Tim Wells calls timeout. There's one for the highlight reel. Now, we'll never know whether Butler knew Robertson was there or he figured I just have to send it in the general direction of our basket.
Well, you know, either he has the best peripheral vision in the conference or it was just a very opportunistic behind-the-back pass. But how about the presence of mind of Providence? down court if anyone's there, let alone a perfect entry pass.
Do you realize how many NFL coaches wish their quarterbacks could hit their receivers in stride like Butler did on that one?
You take a look what he's done offensively, but that's the second or third example, Bobby, that he's been able to either get the rebound and get out, or in this case, get his hand on the rebound and get out. Presence of mind. He has brought a maturity to his own game. We touched on Talik Brown maturing over his freshman season. What Butler needs to do, in my opinion, is stay one more season, pick up that perimeter shot, bring the whole game together, and then go to the next level.
Following the Providence timeout, Adrin for three. He just cannot buy one. Christopher Adrin tonight from three-point range, 0 for 4. He's 38% from three-point range for the season, tops on the Friars. So UConn by 3, and that spectacular play by Butler has, for the moment, silenced this crowd.
Well, the zone has worked very well for Tim Welsh's Friars, but you can only stay in a 2-3 zone when you are close or you have the lead. A few more transition baskets. They're going to have to go back to man-to-man. That opens up the tempo.
Talik Brown penetrates, setting up the open three for Robertson, his third of the night.
It's the second time he's been able to penetrate, Bobby, and go back, reverse the cross-court pass to a wide-open Robertson, who's been able to find that gap and set his feet ready to shoot.
Butler with the steal. 2-on-2 has Shelby left. So the two UConn forwards on this break. Rebound Adrin. Butler reaches in, tries to go for the steal, but Adrin does a good job of using his pivot foot to get away. Linehan, left side, another three for Mills. Didn't even hit the rim on that one.
Credit Caron Butler flying at Mills. Mills just had to give a little ball fake, and he would have had a wide-open three.
Talik Brown will reset the offense inside the final minute in a very fast-moving first half. Robertson to Talik Brown, puts it on the floor, knocked loose, gets it back, starts to go, and Adrin comes away. Here's a 3-on-1 Providence break. Mills explodes to the hole and draws the foul on Tony Robertson. That will be his second and 6th on UConn. Coming up, the ESPN Plus halftime report. Mark and I will take a look at some of the midseason candidates from the Big East for the John Wooden Award. Also, a close-up look at Providence's John Linehan and first half highlights. Mills at the free throw line. He has hit just one of his last 5 three-point attempts. Now, one thing entering the ball game, Mark, that Mills has done very well is get to the line. He had 103 free throw attempts this year. Prior to tonight, that's 43 more than any of his teammates.
Well, he's very active with the ball, as you can see, especially in transition. When you have the ability to knock down that three, the defensive player has to pay attention. And that gives you the opportunity with the quickness of Mills to get by the first line of defense and draw the foul.
A 2-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Douthit misses everything. And here's Robertson on the break. Mills reaches out and fouls him. And that will send Robertson to the line, and that's never a bad thing for UConn because Robertson is a 90.6% shooter from the foul line.
Well, it's a great job by Mills just getting a hand on the ball, not getting the intentional foul. Excellent outlet pass. Tony Robertson releasing James Worthy and Bobby Picozzi in his younger days.
Robertson had made 22 straight free throws before missing his only attempt Sunday against Villanova. Adrin and Kaba returned for Providence for this last possession. And Gordon returns to play defense for the Huskies.
You look at Tony Robertson's numbers, Bob. As I mentioned earlier, he's probably the most experienced player on Jimmy Calhoun's team. And what he does very well over his experience is get open. When Talik Brown penetrates, he knows where the passing lanes are. And as we've seen this evening, he can knock down that three when open.
13 points for Robertson, who's in double figures for the 12th time this year and the 30th time in his career. He'll sit down for the last 14 seconds. He does have 2 personals.
Good run by UConn, excuse me, Bobby, at the end. Important for Providence to get at least a good look here going into the halftime locker room.
Shimon Tools comes in to play defense. And the foul will be called on Hazelton with 4 seconds left, and you certainly don't want that because that puts Providence in the 1-and-1. That will be the first foul on Hazelton, And Mills will go right back to the line where he is a 68.9% shooter.
Good demonstration of showing just exactly how Mills can get to the foul line. Providence loves to give you that ball screen up top. A good pick and roll. Mills makes the turn. Hazelton has to pick him up. The mismatch on quickness allows Mills to get to the line.
And he makes the front end of the 1-and-1. So Mills with 13 points tonight. He's been very consistent offensively. Now in double figures for the 16th time this year. This is game number 18 for the Friars. And Kareem Halitz will come in to play defense for the final 4 seconds for the Friars, a 6-foot senior from Bergenfield, New Jersey. Inbound to Robertson, who returns to play offense. And Gomes and Halitz combine to force the travel. And Jim Calhoun will get Robertson right back out of there. And Hazelton and Tools will come back in to play defense. Again, Robertson with 2 fouls. You certainly don't want to see him pick up his third with 2.2 seconds left in the half.
Oh, great job by Ryan Gomes, leaving his safety position back of that zone and rushing up, forcing Robertson to shuffle his feet before he had a chance to put the ball to the floor.
Tools to defend the inbound. It comes to Mills. Here's an open look for 3 at the buzzer. The UConn Huskies end the half with a 9-2 run in the last 3:44, and when leading at the half this year, Jim Calhoun's club is a perfect 9-0. They have a 6-point lead at intermission tonight. The most spectacular play of the night was Butler to Robertson. It's UConn by 6.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about a nice round of applause? Welcome home, Jimmy Walker.
That was the scene moments ago at halftime here at the Dunkin' Donuts Center, and we're delighted to be joined by Jimmy Walker, Bob Picozzi, along with Mark Plansky here at the Dunkin' Donuts Center. And Jimmy, what did it feel like to feel this tremendous ovation from a sellout crowd of 12,000? They didn't have 12,000 when you were here watching you play at Alumni Hall.
I wish. The electricity in the building, I mean, I'm telling you, it makes you feel so good, especially like when all of the people that are here and come up and talk to you about the old days. Of course, it makes me feel a little old, but it's still great to hear it.
I was telling my partner that I first started watching college basketball, and you were one of the greatest players I've ever seen from the early 60s.
Oh, man, thank you. See, you're kind. I'll give you that thing after the game.
All right, enough of that. Big reason why you're here tonight, Jimmy, is one of the other legends, Ernie D. And you spoke a while ago about your book. Talk a little bit about the book that you guys have coming out.
Oh, absolutely. See, about a year and a half to 2 years ago, see, Ernie and I have been talking about doing a book, but it just wasn't like in place. What happened as we started to converse back and forth, and he and I talk on the telephone about 7 to 8 times a week. So what happened is in cooperation with Providence's the great banquet that's coming up on February 2nd, and all of the different situations that develop with all of the players coming back, returning, like on to Providence, it kind of fell into place in memory of, like our great coach, Mulaney.
Joe Mulaney, who did such a great job. Well, Jimmy, they're ready to start the game, so we got to go. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, man, fantastic. Thank you, guys.
And congratulations on a great career.
Oh, my goodness.
2,045 points in 3 years. The great Jimmy Walker, considered by many observers the greatest player in Providence history. And Mark, of course, you hesitate when you just pick one person and say the greatest, because the guy you sit with tonight in the stands was pretty good too, Ernie DiGregorio. But I think it's safe to say they were the 2 greatest guards in Providence history.
Well, Ernie D will be the first to tell you that Jimmy was the greatest. And as we mentioned earlier, he is simply the benchmark of this great Providence College tradition.
UConn ball to start the second half. Huskies up 6. Butler feeds Selby down low, spins, jump, hook with the left.
Basket number 44, Johnny
6 points for Selby, who is second on the Huskies in field goal shooting, and one of 4 UConn players averaging in double figures.
Well, that had to make Jimmy Calhoun a little more happy coming out this half, going down low, getting the high percentage shot versus the opening 3 in the first.
Linehan goes behind the Laxa screen, and Talik Brown will be called for the hold. That's his second foul, first on UConn this half. As we look at the halftime statistics, Providence settling for 3-point attempts.
Well, as we mentioned, every other shot will come from behind the arc, and that's only good when you're living by the J.
By the way, you imagine Jimmy Walker scored 2,045 points without, needless to say, the 3-point field goal rule. Can you imagine how many he would have scored with it?
I still am having a hard time trying to intellectualize 600 and some odd assists by Ernie D.
In 3 years, 662. Anron misses the three. He's missed them all tonight. It's been a nightmare for Chris Anron from 3-point range. 0 for 5. Robertson coming around the curl as Butler takes the pass, misses the shot. Okafor with his 9th rebound of the night.
Good penetration again by Butler and Brown, and that is causing the Providence teammates to stand around.
Biggest lead of the night for UConn is now 10. We played a minute and a half, second half. Gomes, right side Linehan for 3. Got it.
The little guy steps up almost every game, each and every time they need him, whether it's defensively or the big three to keep them in the game.
29th three of the season for Linehan, and as Brown starts to go, he's called for the offensive foul, creating space. So that will be number 3 on Talik Brown and number 2 on UConn in the second half.
Jimmy Calhoun has to be careful not to pick up a sarcastic technical. You can see the nice little hook by Talik Brown. Excellent call by the referee. But credit Linehan moving the feet, staying in front of Talik Brown and causing all the nightmares that everyone does who plays against Johnny.
Mike Kitts ruling that Brown used the elbow to create some space. So the freshman Ben Gordon will now enter replacing Brown, and we'll go head-to-head with Linehan. Linehan gives to Mills, who had 4 3-pointers in the first half.
And as a result, Tony Robertson is part of his uniform the first time Abdul touches the ball.
As he starts to spin, loses the handle. Here's Gordon, 3-on-2. Has Robertson to his left.
How about that for a finish coming out of nowhere?
Roberts went up and tried a tomahawk one-hand dunk Sunday at Villanova and hit the back of the rim. That time he used both hands. 15 points for Robertson in his homecoming. Played at first East Providence High School and then at St. Andrew's School in Barrington, Rhode Island, before coming to UConn. Laxa for 3. Rebound Okafor.
That's such a staple of Providence's offense, the 3 by either Laxa or Aaron, and neither one have been able to knock him down.
And UConn gets the 3 at the other end, and let's see if Tim Wells tries to put a stop to this. The lead is 12, and as the Friars bring it across, well, he's going to let him play. Now he does signal for timeout. Will step aside. 16:54 to go, and Welsh's Friars with their biggest deficit of the evening. It's UConn by 12 as the Huskies get a 3-pointer from deep to the right side.
Certified pre-owned BMW. Getting one couldn't be easier. Take one for a test drive today. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Hungry? You've come to the right place. The home of great brands and great taste. Conagra Foods. We set America's table. Still hungry? Conagra has the foods America craves at mealtime, snack time, or anytime. Conagra Foods. We set America's table.
Sports fans, the 2002 ESPN Information Please Sports Almanac has arrived. The most complete stats and information, including the 2001 World Series and hundreds of photos from the year in sports. Contributions from Chris Berman, Dan Patrick, Linda Cohn, Stuart Scott, and Rich Eisen. Packed with highlights and insight, it's the most authoritative sports almanac you can buy. ESPN's 2002 Sports Almanac makes a great holiday gift. In bookstores now.
The UConn Huskies have won 6 of their last 7 meetings with Providence and have opened up their biggest lead of the night at 12.
Well, the perimeter settles for Providence, but take a look wide. Okafor doing a great job not letting that entry pass down low, the denial, the half denial. That means that Providence has to settle for that 3-point shot, and Laxa and Aaron have not been able to knock it down. Credit Okafor for doing the interior defense first, and then the bad shooting second.
Combined, Anron and Laxa 0 for 8 from 3-point range, and Providence now 21 of its 39 shots have come from behind the arc. And as Abdul Mills starts to go, he draws the foul, and if it's Robertson, it will be his third. And if so, both of UConn's guards will have 3 fouls. Instead, it will be on Butler. So Butler with 2 and 3 team fouls on the Huskies here in the second half. So back to the free throw line will go Abdul Mills. He was 2 of 4 from there in the first half.
Any perimeter jump shooter, Bobby, wants to shoot the ball first on transition because no one's around. You have time to set your feet. And second, inside out. By Okafor denying the ball down low, you can only catch a perimeter pass around the outside and then have to shoot it quickly with the defense flying at you.
Providence now 5 of 8 from the foul line tonight. Friars go to the 2-3 zone. Gordon left side, Butler puts it on the floor. And wanted to go to Okafor inside, but Gomes picks it off. Linehan goes behind the back. Then left side Mills, and Robertson rejects it. Butler tries to control the loose ball and can't. 27 left on the shot clock for the Friars.
How about the game Robinson is playing?
18 points.
Finishing in with dunks, knocking down threes, blocking shots, always active. Tony Robinson.
6 of 7 from the floor, 4 of 4 from three-point range. Adrin, down low Gomes. Okafor doing a good job of pushing him away from the hoop. Gomes takes it inside and uses the rim.
I'm really impressed with Ryan Gomes. I watched him against Texas. Not only does he get the ball very well, demands the ball, but he is very patient. UConn has to run a second defender at him, because he can convert one-on-one in the post.
Only 4 points tonight for Gomes, and as Robertson starts to go, he is held by Gomes. That will be his second foul, and the first on Providence here in the second half. Timeout, 15:41 to go. UConn trying to start its Big East season 5-0. UConn lead is 9, 4:19 into the second half.
Well, we touched on Tony Robinson. Here's Ben Gordon doing a great job maintaining the dribble. Robinson ran the lane wide, Bobby. That allowed him to come in with the momentum in the two-handed dunk. Then takes it outside. A good cross-skip pass, drawing the back of that 2-3 zone out. Robinson knocking down the 3.
Robertson to inbound for the Huskies at the baseline. Malik Brown on the bench with 3 fouls. Providence trying to trap. Gordon. Aaron pass, Robertson runs it down. Still 25 seconds left on the shot clock. Robertson penetrates the up and under move, and he now has a season-high 20.
Let's see, jump shot, dunk. How about off the dribble? Penetrating as well. Very efficient, 7 for 8 now from the field.
Down low, Gomes juggles and uses the glass.
We touched on what a great job Okafor was doing, not letting Gomes get the ball. The last 2 possessions, you see what happens if Providence's big guy is allowed to touch the ball in the post.
Gomes at 6, Gordon nearly trapped on the sideline. He directs traffic. Second on the team in assists is the freshman Gordon. Finds Robertson on the left. Shot clock at 10. Gordon pass to Butler, who deflected the ball inside to Okafor. The one-touch feed from Butler. I'll tell you, Mark, at 6'7", Butler does not mind handling the ball at all.
Oh, very, very well skilled away from the ball, and as you just mentioned, when he touches the ball in traffic.
Oh, and there's Okafor with his 3rd block of the night, and Butler and Linehan collide. Linehan will be called for the block. And quickly, Tom Lopes steps between them to make sure that nothing escalates. And Butler and Linehan shake hands, so nothing will escalate.
Well, Ryan Gomes is going to learn that Okafor is quite a little athlete himself. A little head fake next time down will draw the foul. But again, Ron Butler very opportunistically taking the ball the length of the court, and 2 great competitors right there in Linehan and Butler shaking hands at the foul line after the altercation.
51 blocks now, and UConn calls the timeout to avoid the turnover. Out of town. Top 25, number 2 Florida is absolutely spanking LSU in the SEC. 5th ranked Oklahoma, who beat UConn a week ago Monday in Hartford by 1. Georgetown up by 9 over Seton Hall second half. Rutgers with a 3-point halftime lead at home over West Virginia. In the Big East West, Syracuse out to a 5-0 start. The Orangemen coming off a win on Monday night over Notre Dame.
Well, then Pittsburgh, tough double overtime loss at Miami last night. And watch Georgetown. They did a great job at Boston College. You see what they're doing this evening. Greg Eschwitz has a good, talented group of guys down there. And Braswell is as talented as anybody in the perimeter when it comes to point guards.
UConn with the ball following the timeout, which was called to avoid a held ball situation. Providence trying to trap at every opportunity now. Down by 11 with 14 minutes left. Gordon, the one-touch pass to Hazelton, who drags the pivot foot.
Well, that is the opening of the zone. You saw last possession, Butler with the touch pass. Hazelton a little too excited. Providence needs to knock it down, because if the lead gets any further away from them, they're going to have to go man-to-man, and that will open up opportunities on the open court for UConn.
Turnover number 14 for the Huskies. Entering the ball game, UConn 11th in the Big East in turnover ratio. Linehan gets the high screen from Laxa, who is yet to score tonight. Laxa misses another 3-point attempt.
And you can see, Bobby, nobody in the picture with a white uniform going after that offensive glass. Laxa is tired. Aaron's tired.
UConn now enjoying a 29-18 rebounding advantage. Pass inside to Okafor, and Laxa will pick up foul number 4. So it has been a nightmare evening for the 6'9" sophomore from Latvia. 0 for 5 from the floor, 0 for 4 from 3-point range, no rebounds, no assists, and now 4 fouls.
Yeah, this tape will not be part of his collection. This will get burned, but a good job by Ben Gordon. You know, throughout the years, Jimmy Calhoun has successfully ran the back screen alley-oops. You've done a number of UConn games, Bobby. You know, going back to Ray Allen and all the superstars, you run the back screen for your athletes. That was just eye contact, and a good job by Okafor going at the basketball to draw the contact.
Tim Welsh is very upset, perhaps. I'm just speculating. Does he think the foul should have been on someone else? And Mike Kitts was trying to calm him down. This is what Laxa has done tonight. And Tim Welsh thinks that Laxa is such an important ingredient. He said, we feel much better about ourselves now that Laxa is healthy enough to contribute. Well, he has not contributed a thing tonight. Meanwhile, Okafor has 11 rebounds, and away from the play, we're going to get a foul, I believe, on Douthit, as he was trying to get some position down low against Okafor. Laxa has certainly seen better days in his 1.5 seasons in a Providence uniform.
And he will see better days in the future. Down at the other end, Douthit leaving the game again. Unlike Gomes, does not like the physical contact, and Okafor just stood there strong like a brick building. And when you have a wingspan like Douthit and you start throwing the arms and the elbows, you're just inviting the referees to blow the whistle.
First foul on Douthit, 4 on Providence second half. Butler on the left. And Kaba gets a hand on it. Here's Linehan trying to get something in transition. Right side 3 by Kaba.
That's the first steal we've seen in quite some time by Linehan, and credit Kaba for spotting up on that transition. An easy shot for 3 and knocking it down.
11-3 of the season for Kaba. Now the Dunkin' Donuts Center crowd trying to get into it with Providence within 8. Hazelton with the miss. Selvey can't control the rebound. And here's Linehan. He has Cobb on the right. Instead, he goes inside to Gomes, who can't get it to fall, but he does draw the foul. It will be on Hazelton.
Well, we touched on the tough night Lax's having, but that is allowing Sanders to get playing time with Gomes. I like these two competing athletically up front. Look at Johnny Linehan with a head up. Gomes catching the ball, and he just had his shot blocked. That time, he uses the body and the rim to ward off the defender.
Gomes at the free throw line, 6 points, 4 rebounds. UConn enjoying a 29-20 rebounding edge tonight. But Jim Calhoun told me it's the first time in my 16 years we've been out-rebounded 4 times in 5 games. It's going to catch up with us. We have to do something about it. so far tonight, taking advantage of Providence's willingness to settle for the threes and their inability to hit a high percentage of them. UConn having its way off the backboard.
Well, the career that Jimmy has had instituting the program at UConn is not too dissimilar from Coach K at Duke. Both programs built on defense. And when you play that hard man-to-man defense, you very many times will out-rebound the opponents because you recover, you put a body on, and you take it and get off the glass and get down the other end.
Providence has cut that 12-point lead in half, and now the crowd has come alive. Talik Brown back in the lineup with 3 fouls, replacing Robertson. So Gordon and Talik Brown are the guards up front. UConn's starting 3 of Butler, Selby, and Okafor. Gordon, right side, knocked away. Who touched it last? Off Gordon. So Linehan creating some havoc in the turnover there. And Robertson will come right back in.
Well, he took a little bit of a break, or it seems so, but John Linehan has been involved in every part of the last 3 possessions. Watch him move his feet, though, Bobby. His hands are always active, but he's in perfect position with his feet first. Then he's low to the ground, and his hands will be moving quicker than most.
Second in the country. He has 68 steals. He leads the Big East. Left side 3. Finally, Chris Anrin hits a 3. He had missed his first 5. Timeout UConn. That 12-point lead is down to 3 with 11:50 left.
You know, like Laxa, Anrin is going to continue to shoot. That is what he's in the game for. Jimmy Welsh is saying, don't worry, keep shooting. This was not the best look that Anrin has had all evening, but it was a good rotation of the ball, a good job of moving the defense, making them react. And again, he had his feet set. Look at Sanders with a crisp pass. The feet are set. Good fall through, and as you mentioned, finally knocking it down.
Anrin had a career-high 6 threes en route to a career-high 20-point effort against Syracuse, but he missed his first 5 threes tonight. And Providence, on an 8-0 run in the last 90 seconds, has pulled within 3.
A couple of John Linehan steals, one that he will get attributed for, one he will not. The turnover resulted in 2 open threes for Providence. The little guy is sparking it from the defensive side once again.
Providence 7 of 25 from 3-point range tonight, so that's 28%. For the season, the Friars shooting 31.2% from 3-point range. And just for the sake of comparison, that is only 13th in the 14-team Big East. 2-3 Friar zone. Selby to Talik Brown. And as Tony Robertson starts to go, he'll draw the foul on Sanders. That will be his first, 5 on the team. Official timeout, 11.5 remaining. UConn leads the Friars by 3. A look at the state capitol in the distance. We are in downtown Providence at the Dunkin' Donuts Center, where the Friars have made a run at UConn. We're down 12, now down 3. The Huskies have won 4 of their last 5 entering the ball game. And UConn to inbound beneath its own basket. The good news for UConn is they're shooting the lights out in the second half. That is when they get the shot off. And as Butler takes it to the hole, Gomes with the block. 28 seconds left on the shot clock for UConn.
Well, credit Johnny Linehan's led defense for Providence. What we saw in the first half were quick shots by UConn, leading to many offensive rebounding opportunities. The turnovers have, despite the efficiency of UConn in the second half, have led to a prior comeback.
Providence trying to trap at every opportunity, and that time Anrin will be called for the block on Butler, his first 6 on the team.
Well, they were begging for the wraparound, and there may be an argument with Caron Butler using that arm, but you have to move your feet. You don't move your feet, you're going to give the referee an opportunity to call the block.
So for the 3rd consecutive time in this possession, UConn inbounds along the baseline beneath its own basket. Talik Brown trying to keep the ball away from the sideline, which Providence will use as an extra defender.
With Sanders on the back line and Gomes, you'd have 2 good athletes that are able to come out and contest the perimeter shots for UConn.
Butler feeds Selby at the high post. He feeds Robertson down low, and Robertson draws the foul. And again, a reminder, he's a 90% shooter from the foul line.
Great job by UConn moving the ball into the interior of the zone, Bobby, and making that extra pass.
Foul number 2 on Sanders, 7 on Providence. So the Friars are over the limit, but Robertson will shoot 2.
This Butler penetrating with the pass, and Selby doing a great job with the dish off. Sanders always active, getting him with the body, and as you mentioned, sending the 90% handle shooter to the foul line.
Now, Robertson has already exceeded his season high. That is 21 points. Now has an opportunity to equal his career high. But does not do it. So after making 22 straight free throws, he finally missed one the other day at Villanova. This is another one here tonight in Providence. 4-point UConn lead. Anren, who just hit his first 3 of the night a moment ago. Down low Gomes. Linehan tries to blow past Talik Brown, shoots over and hits the side of the backboard. And Linehan takes it away from Selby, who gets it right back. Here's Talik Brown, 3-on-2. Butler draws the block on Anren.
So close by Johnny Linehan, ends up on a 3-on-2, and a good job by Butler drawing the contact.
Foul number 2 on Anren, 8 on the Friars.
You know, Johnny can shoot that step back right there. I don't think he called glass that time, Bobby, but always hustling. Selby doing an excellent job. Brown the master, and there's a good job. Butler squaring his shoulders, not going in soft, but using the body to ward off the defender.
Caron Butler with his first point of the second half. Butler, a preseason nominee for both the Wooden and Naismith National Player of the Year awards. So the lead is 6.
I heard Jay Billis call Mr. Butler a Paul Pierce without the jump shot. I think that's an excellent comparison. This is why I think he should stay one more year to get that perimeter jump shot, because we all can see what Paul Pierce is doing in the NBA this year.
Second leading scorer in the NBA is Mr. Pierce. Linehan, left side. The jumper by Sanders, no good. Tries to follow up his own miss. Instead, Butler. Remember, we said at 6'7", he doesn't mind handling the ball in the break. Looked pretty good that time, didn't he?
Role reversal. Talik Brown doing an excellent job filling the lanes wide, just like Tony Robertson earlier with the dunk. If you touch the sideline and go in at a 45-degree angle, you present an easy passing lane for Butler, who handled the rock.
First 2 points for Talik Brown, only his 4th shot. 8-point UConn lead inside the 10-minute mark. Kaba, defended by Robertson. Tries to beat him off the dribble and does, but can't finish. Wild scramble for the rebound. Robertson will control. And as he does, he dragged the pivot foot, said official John Cal, directly in front of us. Tony's pointing, so what do you mean? I didn't move it.
Most of the crowd thought he traveled on the first shuffle. They missed that. So then the referees were focused on it, and they got the second one. Kaba trying to trace down his missed shot. Let's take a look. See, there you can see a little shuffle, and then he's going to move it right there.
Yeah, he did.
All 3 referees were watching it because the crowd's starting hushing. Little spotlight.
We are at the Dunkin' Donuts Center in downtown Providence for Big East basketball. I'm Bob Picozzi along with Mark Plansky. 9:21 to go. UConn up by 8. The Huskies, the points off turnovers in Providence's favor tonight. But UConn enjoying the edge off the backboards. And Providence just unable to hit much of a percentage from 3-point range. Sanders hits that one from 2-point range.
Well, Timmy Walsh has to be very pleased with Sanders' production on both ends of the court this evening.
Tim Wells says, without a doubt, UConn and Syracuse, I think, are the 2 best teams in the conference. UConn gets from one rim to the other as well as any team I've seen.
And that's how they have extended their lead this evening by the transition.
Ben Gordon with the right side 3.
Confidence for the freshman with a step back.
His first points of the night. His 22nd 3-pointer of the year. He's second on the team. UConn is a 38% shooting team from 3-point range. 3rd best in the Big East. Anren. Kaba defended by Talik Brown. Time running down on the shot clock. Linehan on the bench for the moment. Now Okafor jumps out to help, and Selby takes it away and then is immediately fouled by Kaba, and the foul on Kaba will be his second, and that's 9 on Providence. So UConn entering the ball game A 71% free throw shooting team is going to have a lot of opportunities from the line down the stretch.
Well, it's a good job by Okafor, knowing that there was only a few seconds left on the shot clock. That allowed him to jump out on that high pick and roll, and a little slap on the back by Abdul Mills back to Kaba, saying, you know, that's my fault. I should have the ball with 5 seconds left, not you.
Okafor with 11 rebounds tonight, so he's in double figures in that category for the 6th time in his career. Selby misses the free throw. The next Providence foul will be its 10th. Then UConn will be shooting 2 free throws the rest of the way. Linehan returns after a brief rest. Hanron defended by Butler.
Speaking of Mills, Gordon is all over Abdul Mills.
Tim Welsh will call time with 19 seconds left on the shot clock, and his club down by 9, 7:43 to go. And the game reminds me a little bit, Mark, of Sunday. UConn jumped all over Villanova early. The Wildcats came right back, but every time Villanova made a run, UConn had an answer. Tonight, the lead was 12, cut to 3. Now UConn's opened it back up to 9.
Well, as we've mentioned, Providence opportunities have come from the turnovers, and those are easy to correct when Coach Calhoun whacks you on the back of the head, Bobby, and says, take care of the basketball. And then they do. They set up the good shot inside and out tonight for UConn.
This is the 5th time that UConn has jumped out to a 4-0 start in Big East play, Mark, and the last 4 times it happened, each time the Huskies wound up finishing first in either winning or sharing the regular season conference title.
Well, you remember we did the games last year, and we often mentioned we're not used to seeing UConn in the bottom of the standings. Once again, back where Jimmy Calhoun has been very accustomed to top an undefeated record in the East.
UConn 8-8 in the league last year, and the hold will be called on Gordon against Mills. For Gordon, that's his first foul, only 5 on the Huskies, and that should bring us to an official timeout. UConn 10-3 overall. The Huskies last year won only 1 road game. Tonight they're looking for their 4th of the year. The UConn lead is 9 with 7.5 remaining. Let's take a look at our best play of the game. It's brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
Well, it's almost like Caron Butler was listening to us talk about Ernie DiGregorio. The quick hands, and then from 45 feet, the whoop, behind the back, on the dime delivery to Tony Robinson.
Now, perhaps when he first headed for the ball, perhaps he noticed where Robertson was, but as you see in the replay, he never looked left again. He was concentrating on saving the ball and also making sure he didn't step on the sideline, but he sure hit him on the numbers, didn't he? UConn absolutely controlling the ball in the paint. That'll happen when you settle for threes.
Settle for threes, and again, Okafor doing a great job on the interior defense and the multiple offensive rebounding opportunities for the Huskies off those shots.
And Ben Gordon picks Mills' pocket and knocks it away, and it was last touched by Mills.
Boy, Ben Gordon, very impressive as a freshman coming into this program. Very offensively minded, very confident with the ball behind the arc, and is not afraid to play D, shutting down Mills after an explosive first half.
UConn with good ball movement on this possession. Butler for 3. He hit one early. Hazelton with the tip in.
The good ball movement, Bobby, as you touched on, allowed Providence to be mismatched on the rebounding opportunity. Hazelton went right to the glass and taps it in.
So the lead back up to 11 with 6:40 remaining. Gomes hands to Linehan. Adron for 3. Now 1 for 7 from three-point range. Does get the long rebound. Mills, a right side 3. Laxa gets the rebound, his first of the night, and he is fouled. Hazelton was there, and he will be whistled for personal number 3, and that's number 6 on UConn here in the second half.
We're back out to that 11-point deficit for Providence, so the threes get launched a little quicker than Timmy Welsh would like. Laxa and Adron, as we have mentioned, having troubles from the perimeter. That time fortunate to come away with the rebound.
Providence now 7 of 27 from three-point range, 26%. Inside, the ball comes to Laxa, and this time he's fouled. I believe Okafor will get it. And Laxa will get a chance to finally get on the board. Foul number 1 on Okafor.
Look at Laxa, Bobby. He's doesn't have the look of a player who's having fun tonight. And a big part of that is because of the personnel of Timmy Welsh's Friars. He has to play the power forward position or the center position. And this is a kid who, like me, just wants to shoot jumpers for 40 minutes.
Laxa missed the first 2 games of the season, serving a suspension for violating the NCAA rules on amateurism, then missed 7 more with a stress fracture in his right foot. This is only his 7th start of the year in game 18 for Providence. And Laxa will sit down after finally getting on the scoreboard with his first point of the night, and it took 33.5 minutes. He had a career tying 24 this year, career high tying 24 against Austin P. There's Linehan with the steal on Robertson. 1-on-2 with Gordon also there, and he uses the glass.
Every time you think, as you have mentioned, UConn's going to take it away, Linehan gets involved on the D.
4th steal of the night for Linehan, his 69th of the year. That gets the crowd back in. Robertson, baseline, feeds Selby down low, and Adron just reaches out and fouls him. That will be his 3rd. 10 team fouls on Providence, so everything the rest of the way will be 2 free throws for UConn.
Always active in the passing lanes. You cannot be lazy with the basketball, Mr. Robertson. And then how about the finish? Gets by one, throws it over the other.
And Mark, when you played at Villanova, was Gene Smith still in the league for Georgetown?
Thank goodness he was not.
He had just left, right? Because Gene Smith is really the only guy I can think of in the history of the Big East that is anywhere near the level of Linehan when it comes to on-the-ball defender at the perimeter position.
On the ball is what Gene did best. He just dug it in. He got it into your jockstrap for 40 minutes, and you just had nowhere to go. But what Johnny does better than Gene never could do is get involved in the opposite side of the court and get his hands on balls where he's not defending the ball.
Selby with the rejection. Gordon takes it right to the rim. What was that Tim Welch said? Getting from one rim to the other faster than any team.
And I'm telling you, Sanders was right there, chopping, waiting to block that shot, and Gordon took it strong.
So Linehan's steal gets the crowd in it, and just like that, UConn comes back and takes the 11-point lead. Another block, but Gomes is there for the putback. 10 points for Gomes. He's now in double figures for the 8th time this year, and keep in mind he did not play in the first 7 games of the season. Robertson starts to go, has it knocked away, but gets it back. Robertson for 3. Long rebound, weak side, Butler for the putback.
UConn just with superior size and depth up front is wearing down Providence. Laxa moving very slowly up front.
Linehan drives, Gomes there for the weak side rebound. Can't get it to fall, but he will draw the foul. So whatever message Jim Calhoun imparted to his troops after they were out-rebounded by Villanova by 8 on Sunday has certainly seemed to work, because UConn controlling the backboards tonight.
I can tell you, the week-long rebounding drills are not the favorite of the players in practice. But here's a good look at Linehan again, taking it strong in the block shot by Selby.
Gomes, 10 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists.
The other side of that block, Ben Gordon, the freshman again, the great crossover, and you can see Sanders licking his chops, waiting to block it, and continuing strong to the glass, and the finish, Ben Gordon.
Gomes did not play in the first 7 games this year. Believe it or not, Providence was actually considering redshirting him for competitive reasons. But then the injury to Laxa certainly made them rethink that. Imagine where they'd be, Mark, without Gomes. He leads the team in rebounds per game and is 2nd in points per game, and Robertson nearly wound up in our lap.
And Timmy Welsh again demonstrating his coaching abilities after a made free throw, a surprise attack with the full court pressure, gets the ball back into Providence's hands with yet another turnover by the Huskies.
Turnover number 19 for UConn. Mills, the 4.5-minute mark, feeds the post. Gomes gets sweet position. Okafor with a good comeback, but the ball is knocked out of bounds, and it will be Friars' ball beneath their own hoop.
One of the few times they've got the ball inside. As you can see, every other shot coming from behind the arc. Gomes, when he catches it, with the exception of that last possession where he rushed just a tad, has been very efficient in the paint.
Mills, defended by Robertson. Anron with Butler on him. Sanders feeds down low, kick out Anron. Ball fake, back down low to Gomes again. Shot clock at 10. Linehan for 3. Rebound Selby.
Good possession. That was a good look inside out from John Linehan. He will knock those down more times than not.
6th rebound of the night for Selby. Brown spins by Linehan, then juggles.
You get the feeling Talik is exhausted after that possession.
Oh, what a pick that Okafor set. And he gets the return pass, and Linehan fouls him. Great screen and roll. Okafor set the pick, cut for the hoop, and Brown got it to him.
The oldest play in the basketball book, the pick and roll, but a great job. First, let's listen to the crunch. Ow, that hurts. Roll right to the rim is the freshman Okafor. Always competitive John Linehan, not allowing the and one.
The foul will be called on Sanders, his 3rd, and at the free throw line goes the 6'9" freshman from Houston, Emeka Okafor. Already twice this season named the Big East Rookie of the Week, including this past Monday. Began his UConn career with 11 points and 12 rebounds against Vanderbilt, becoming the first Husky since Rod Sellers to get a double-double the very first night he laced them up. Ben Gordon and Okafor, a couple of freshmen, giving some contributions to the Huskies down the stretch. They're up 11 with 3:38 remaining. This game is being brought to you by BMW. Test drive the ultimate driving machine at your local BMW center. By Geico Direct, the sensible alternative. And by ConAgra Foods. We set America's table. And speaking of BMW, Mark, now let's take a look at the BMW ultimate drive of the game.
Well, Johnny Linehan gets a lot of the drives courtesy of the defense. Talk about your determination. 2 guys back. I'm still going to knock it off the glass and convert.
Linehan with 4 steals tonight, 69 for the season. Out of the official timeout, Gomes. Kaba comes around the screen, then finds Linehan and sets the screen. 10 seconds left on the shot clock. UConn digs in the man-to-man. Anron, right side Linehan for the open 3. Got it. His 30th of the year.
Great patience by Providence coming out of the timeout. Now the full court pressure. Try to get in the passing lanes. And if nothing else, cause UConn to put up a quick shot.
Linehan now with a dozen. He's in double figures for the 12th time this year. Linehan called for the hold on the perimeter. Keep in mind 2 things here. Providence has already put UConn in the double bonus, so every time they foul, UConn shoots 2. Secondly, they are sending UConn's best free throw shooter to the line in Tony Robertson. Although he has missed one tonight, he's 3 of 4 tonight, but 90% for the year.
You just dying to jinx this poor young man. You know, you look at the clock, 2:50 left to go in the game. It's taken Jimmy Calhoun 37 minutes to get to the referees with Johnny Linehan in his active hands.
Linehan brings it up after another Robertson miss. Sanders up top, Kaba. Around the screen comes Anron. It has been a nightmare night for Anron, the sophomore from Sweet. Throws up another 3 and finally gets one. His 2nd of the night. But he has needed 8 attempts to bury those 2. He's got 8 points. Tim Welsh with the quick timeout. And the Friars certainly still within range. A 6-point lead with 2:29 to go.
You take a look at Jimmy Calhoun's look at Caron Butler. Anron, you mentioned, had a tough night. There are no tough nights for shooters because if you get your 10 shot attempts, it's a good night. That's what you're out there to do when he knocks down his 2nd jump shot wide open. Caron Butler, you should know, and you do know, that Anron's not going to give you the up fake and put the ball on the ground. So fly at Anron. Do not let him take that shot, and you have done your job.
UConn will not play another Big East game after tonight until 1 week from tonight against St. John's. There is the timeout picture. UConn has committed 8 fouls. Possession arrow pointing toward Providence. So if the Huskies can hang on to this 6-point lead when they take the floor against St. John's next week, they'll be 5-0 in the Big East. Here's UConn. That's the way you beat the press, but Butler can't finish. The rebound knocked out of bounds by the Friars. So it will be UConn ball at the baseline. The Huskies will host North Carolina this Saturday at Gamble Pavilion. Only the 3rd time those two teams have met. The first time since Carolina beat UConn in the regional finals of the NCAA tournament in 1998 down in Greensboro. A loss which the UConn people will tell you is what really was the starting point for what turned out to be a national championship a year later. Butler on the perimeter is fouled by Sanders. That will be his 4th. We mentioned the Carolina game for UConn, and then after that Jim Calhoun's Huskies will host St. John's at Gamble Pavilion next Wednesday. Then they step out of league to visit Arizona, then back in the league for dates with Rutgers and Miami. Jim Calhoun's club won 20 last year, didn't make the NCAA tournament, and he vowed that'll never happen again. He said if we win 20 again, we're going to make the tournament. And they have made a concerted effort to upgrade the non-conference schedule.
You know, if there's ever a year to put the North Carolina Tar Heel team on that schedule for the look of the RPI rating, it's this year. Matt Doherty and his 2nd season having very well-known and publicized difficulties down there in Tar Heel land.
Butler with the free throws as we look at Ben Gordon on the bench. Butler with 19 points tonight, so he has hit his average. The average is 18.9, 6th best in the Big East. Butler a preseason first-team All-Big East selection. The UConn lead back up to 8 inside 2 minutes. Linehan misses the runner, and Butler comes away with a rebound. Then Linehan knocks it away from behind to the teammate Sanders. Sanders down low goes. But that was created by Linehan. Tim Welsh gets a quick timeout. The lead cut to 6 again at the 1:33 mark. 14 points for freshman Ryan Gomes, who comes from Waterbury, Connecticut, and presumably is quite familiar growing up in Waterbury with the success of the UConn program.
You can't blame Karan Butler. He has the ability to handle the ball. He's trying to get away from Laxa. There's Linehan, and there's the other end of the play with Gomes in the finish. But, I mean, it's not that Butler made a mistake. The coaching staff will get him and say, hold the ball, corral the ball. He was just trying to get to an open spot on the court, but Tony Linehan was too quick. The little mouse does it again.
Jim Calhoun told me this week, we'll try at times to keep Linehan away from the ball, but that's easier said than done. What was the line we quoted Talik Brown at the beginning of the telecast? He said from his experience a year ago when Talik turned the ball over 8 times in this building, he said Linehan's like a little mouse.
And it just takes you out of the game. When you have to play man for man with 40 minutes of the little guy chasing you, you are exhausted mentally, and very often that will take you out physically of your game. Talik Brown has done a great job staying in his mindset of his floor game this evening.
UConn won only 1 road game last year, already 3-0 on the road this year, and in Big East play, the Huskies are a Big East best 66-40 in conference road games in the last 12+ seasons. That goes back to the 89-90 season, which was the first season that UConn shared the Big East regular season title, and they went on to win the Big East tournament and got a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament. So the Friars are out of timeouts. Butler, and now they immediately try to trap, and there's Linehan with another steal. Kaba 3. That one hurt. If that one had gone down, that might have changed things. Then Gordon tries to run it down, but Sanders and Kaba combine to keep it alive. Down low, Gomes wants to go on Okafor, and Okafor called for the foul.
Just great enthusiasm by Providence, chasing down those missed threes. But Bobby, how about the patience of Gomes in the midst of the chaos? The young freshman gathering himself after collecting the low post entry pass and drawing the foul. I mean, look at this. He collects himself. He's on balance. A couple of dribbles. Where's the defender? You have to go down and get your hands down and help Okafor gets himself to the line.
Gomes a perfect 4 of 4 from the line tonight. Those are his numbers for the season. That's a big miss. That Kaba 3 would have really got this crowd in a frenzy. Would have cut that lead in half. And he got a great open look created by the Linehan steal. Gomes cuts the lead to 5 at the 1:14 mark.
The way to beat this press is pass over it. Get it away from John Linehan.
And Talik Brown is not a good free throw shooter, and that's why Linehan makes a run at him, because Talik is the guy that the opposition wants to put on the foul line. The foul on Linehan is his 4th for the season. Talik Brown is a 63% shooter from the line. However, in conference play, 73.3%, and he hit a huge free throw when it mattered down the stretch against Villanova.
We mentioned the maturity of his game from freshman to sophomore. Making free throws under 2 minutes is a big part of maturing in this conference.
Only 3 points tonight for Brown, but that is hardly the contribution that UConn looks for the most when it comes to him.
Well, Jim Calhoun gave the reins to Talik Brown last year, and it's very difficult to be a freshman and take over a program like UConn. He learned a lot. He's practically a junior this year coming around.
This is the second, and it's tipped in by Okafor. Nobody got a body on Okafor, who has 8 points, and suddenly the lead is 8 inside a minute.
Mental mistakes at the worst time. Great job by Okafor getting inside the defender.
Linehan tries to shoot over Okafor. Selby was there and will be called for the foul. Jim Calhoun, in talking to Talik Brown and just trying to compare things, he said, we're trying to get, well, first of all, let's look at this replay.
Well, look at Okafor down, ready to go. He just slips right inside of Sanders. I mean, that is going to be replayed for little Sanders' benefit a few times tomorrow in the coach's office.
Linehan is a 90% free throw shooter, but Jim Calhoun said, we're trying to get Talik to play like Kevin Ollie, who is a very successful point guard on some of those UConn Big East championship teams. But Talik sometimes thinks he should play like Khalid El-Amino, of course, is another great point guard at UConn. And then Jim Calhoun reminds him that Kevin Ollie is still in the NBA, and Khaled's trying to get back there.
Absolutely. 2 different games. And again, last year he was compared too much, if you'll ask Jimmy Calhoun, to Omar Cook. Another guy who left early, had a sensational freshman season. And coming out of high school, those two were the 1-2 guys on every Eastern Scouting report. And Omar is now fighting to stay in the NBA. So I think Jimmy Calhoun, after 16 years at UConn, might know what he's talking about, Bobby.
14 points for Linehan, who has just fouled out of the game with 46 seconds left. So Linehan departs with 14 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, and 4 steals officially he's credited with. And Caron Butler will shoot the free throws after Tim Welsh decides which substitution to make. Providence had lost 3 straight before the win over St. John's on Saturday. And Tim Welsh has used 10 different starting lineups because of the injuries. We mentioned the injury to Laxa. Chris Anron missed a couple of games early in the season with an ankle, and the Friars continue to play without Ramil Augustin, who was a starter for the last 2 years, and tonight is missing his 13th game with a hip injury, and they may not get him back for the rest of the year.
No, in fact, they are thinking about medically redshirting Augustin for next year. And I think that's the biggest loss, because he's the small forward shooter who, as we saw last year, had the ability to get as hot on any streak of shooting as anyone behind the arc. Playing too much, Bob, in the offseason. He played for in the World Games. He had a hip flexor that never really healed from his August participation in the international summer events. And it's probably going to cost him a year on the red shirt as a result.
Butler a perfect 7 for 7 from the line, so he has 20 points. Butler has been the model of consistency in his UConn career. He is now in double figures 42 times in 43 collegiate games. The lead is 8. Kaba, drop step, feeds down low, tipped in by Gomes with 35 seconds. The only way Providence can stop the clock is to foul. That's the guy they'll probably want to foul. Instead, Talik Brown is called for the travel. With 30 seconds left, so Providence still with a chance. Down 6 with the ball.
Well, the second time that UConn has shuffled the feet. Credit the Providence defense. Another good call by the referee. The little steps count just as much as the big ones.
Anrin for 3. Oh. Can't get it to go. Rebound Butler. Now Providence in a situation they can't be too choosy. They just have to foul whoever has the ball. We are at the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence, Rhode Island. The 57th meeting between UConn and Providence. I'm Bob Picozzi along with Mark Plansky. It's UConn by 6 with 19 seconds left, and freshman Ben Gordon going to the free throw line to shoot 2. He has 5 points. John Linehan, just saw him on the bench. He has fouled out. Linehan tonight scoring 14 points and had 4 steals, increasing his Big East leading total to 69. So UConn in position now to have a little breathing room atop the Big East standings at 5-0.
You got to think, Bobby, a good chance for the national rankings to come to this UConn program. Very unlikely.
It's incredible.
A 5-0 record in the Big East will leave them out of the 25 next week.
Well, perhaps, and plus 2 of their 3 losses are to second-ranked Maryland and 7th-ranked Oklahoma. So UConn wins it 69-62. The Huskies go to 11-3 overall, 5-0 in the conference. Providence falls to 10-8, 1-3 in the league.
Great win by Jimmy Calhoun. Never easy to come into Providence. Jimmy Walker's return results in a sold-out Civic Center, but Jimmy Calhoun has his team focused in 2002, playing the defense and getting out on the transition.
For Mark Plansky, I'm Bob Picozzi. Thanks so much for joining us, and so long from Providence, where UConn wins by 7. This has been a presentation of ESPN Plus, the worldwide leader in collegiate sports television.